Is online dating a sensible way to meet a Filipina or women in general? Have you also tried it multiple times without success and ended up frustrated, thinking only scammers are on there anyway? Hold on a second. Are dating platforms really to blame? Are there some hacks that will actually help you succeed? I'm Götz and I moved to the Philippines 10 years ago. Now that I'm approaching 60, I've learned from my mistakes and want to share some tips and tricks with you. This way you can find your little mermaid and not get eaten by the sharks out there. Online dating itself isn't bad if you stick to 3 simple principles which I'll explain in the following video. I'll admit I made a ton of mistakes with online dating myself. Thinking I can just swing by and visit the woman of my dreams, well, that's not so easy when there's a distance of 10,000 miles between Germany and her in the Philippines. I've gone through the exact same experiences as you are going through now, made the exact same mistakes just like many other experts I've come in contact with over the years here. I promised you survival rules, and let's start with number 1. First, there are 2 questions you should absolutely ask yourself. How emotionally stable are you feeling right now? And second, how's your self-control? This is all about your interactions, whether it's with women from Germany, the Philippines or America. It's on you, not them. If you're emotionally solid and have a good grip on yourself, dating will likely be a fun experience for you. But if you trip on either of these questions, trust me, you're heading straight for disaster. So take a moment, think hard about where you stand before moving forward. Are you emotionally secure or a bit shaky? And what about self-control? I've spoken with a lot of men in my life who've made the move abroad. Each had his own story, not just financial terms, but also regarding their emotional journey. Some folks have had the luck to lead a peaceful life. Others have been married for decades and are only single because their partner is no longer around. Then there are those who've gone through several failed marriages, and let's not forget the ones who've always been single. Not because they love the single life, but because their interactions with women have always gone awry. Don't get me wrong, there are many types of men and only you know which category you fall into. If you want to gauge yourself, take a look at your last 10 years. Where were you and what have you been through? Only when you have a clear picture, you can make sensible decisions about whether online dating is for you or not. A little self-reflection never hurt anyone. If you've been single for a long time and don't really have much dating experience, I mean, maybe you have had one date but it never led to a second one, let me give it to you straight. The odds aren't in your favor in the online dating world. Or if you're coming out of an emotionally taxing relationship, steer clear. Now is not the time for flattering chats with young attractive girls. You see, you might overlook the red flags, the warning signs that you are treading on thin ice, but you don't recognize them because you're emotionally needy. The scammers on dating platforms know exactly how to rip off guys like you, men who are emotionally unstable and can't keep a grip on themselves. Those are harsh words, I know, but they are true. So don't rush things. Take the time to assess yourself before diving into the online dating adventure. You'll thank me later. And if you ask me if there are scammers on online dating sites, I can't help but chuckle. Of course there are, and plenty of them. Each dating platform has its own vibe. Some sites do verify their members, but there's labor and cost involved in that. You'll usually find this feature only in the premium offerings. But a lot of guys want a long list of young, sexy women and they want it all for free. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way. Take Date in Asia as an example. You can sign up for free and start chatting right away. But hold up, think about it. Free and unverified, that's paradise for any scammer who's already been kicked off other sites. Creating a new email account is a piece of cake these days. And just like that, the scammer has a new profile on every free dating site out there. So when it comes to freebies, you get exactly what you paid for, nothing. Of course, there are more reputable sites like Filipina Cupid or Christian Filipina. But even there's a general rule of thumb. At least 80% of these women should set off alarm bells for you. Either they're just after your money or they're looking for a foreigner to marry and take them out of the Philippines. Many women there have long-term intentions they are not going to spell out for you. You might now be wondering what these women really want. Well, here's the thing. In the Philippines, there's no such thing as divorce, only marriage annulments. And they are neither cheap nor quick. We are talking about $5,000 to $10,000 and a 2 to 3 year waiting period. And even then, there is no guarantee that the marriage will be annulled, even if you've patiently waited and paid. This means that many married Filipinas can be found on dating platforms. I've made a separate video about this risk, which I highly recommend you watch if you haven't already. And as I said, I also dated online and chatted with women. Eventually you get a sense that something's fishy. So you keep your distance a bit but continue the chat in a friendly manner. And at some point one of them spilled the beans. She was just looking for a man to pay for her marriage annulment. She was already living with someone else and was just looking for someone to foot the bill for the annulment. That financial mule could have been me or could be you now. So be aware of what you're getting into. Some of these women have plans where you'll end up being the sucker. They are not looking for you, they are looking for someone to bankroll their ticket to a different life. If you let your feelings guide you, putting it politely, at the sight of a young bikini beauty without engaging your brain, it's guaranteed to be an expensive ride. And you've probably already guessed it, if you're on dating sites, you can assume that a good 80 to 95% of the women out there have an agenda that has little to do with an honest relationship. Welcome to the real world. A dating portal with only good Filipinas, forget about it. If you want to find someone you might be able to trust, you've got to take the reins yourself. Investing a little money is the first step. You might be thinking, I don't want to spend $50 a month. Well, have fun swimming with the sharks then. Trust me, with a paid membership you have more options and more control. You can search more efficiently, your profile gets highlighted and you get a better idea of who's viewed your profile and how often. That saves you time, and as everyone knows, time is money. But stay vigilant to avoid any nasty surprises. And if you're still hesitating, think about what you stand to lose by choosing the cheap route. You could be one of those guys who end up telling folks like me, she seemed so great, I flew to the Philippines and then she vanished with my $5,000. In short, invest wisely. Would you rather spend $50 a month for a year or risk losing $5,000? There are no guarantees, but your odds are better. You wouldn't pick the cheapest contractor for every single task when building a house, would you? Sometimes you've got to spend a bit more to avoid getting burned. Next, let's talk about the emotional state of affairs. Taking a good hard look in the mirror never hurt anybody, especially when it comes to dating. If you're fresh out of a complicated relationship or even a divorce, take a breather. Get your feet back under you before you start hunting. What do you want? To travel, stay put, or be constantly on the go? Because once you've got that figured out, you'll have a much easier time finding the right partner. Many guys forget to consider their own desires. And bam, there she is, a woman with kids looking for stability, while you might be itching to explore the world. So before you jump into the dating pool, figure out what you want. Only then you will find someone who truly fits into your life plan. If you're looking to be a globetrotter, it wouldn't make much sense to go for a woman tied down to a desk job, would it? She's supposed to join you on your adventures, right? Now on to survival rule number 2, self-control. You really have to ask yourself honestly how you stand on this issue. You don't want to be that guy who falls head over heels for the first bikini beauty who throws him a little online attention. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying this to get under your skin or rain on your parade. I've been there, done that, and trust me, a little caution never hurt anyone. You've got to practice navigating these dating sites. Success in sports doesn't come without training, does it? You send out messages and scope out what the market has to offer. But let's be real. Initially, you know nothing about these women. You've got to chat with them to figure out who's worth investing your time in. So as you're chatting, you'll come across some red flags. The newbies will straight up ask you for money, while the professionals are a bit more crafty. They'll invite you to a messenger app because they don't want to risk getting their dating profile banned. And then comes the ask for a few bucks, often right after they've sent you some explicit photos of themselves. Another red flag to watch out is professional looking photos coupled with excuses when it comes to video calls. The internet is bad here, or I don't have money for video calls at the moment. Just cross-reference to see if those glossy profile pictures could really match up with the life in the province she is telling you. Man, I wish I could sit beside some of you guys with my experience as you browse through these options. Block her, block her, block her. But what do you fellas do instead? Oh, she looks cute in that bikini. And boom, you plow through all the red flags, going deeper and deeper down the rabbit hole. And then comes her ultimate, goodbye, thanks for playing, because you're broke. And please don't think you are smarter than some young gal from the provinces, just because you've now seen my video. People often say that Filipinas aren't smart, but trust me, if you think you're smarter than her, she has already won the game. Because it's not really you doing the thinking, it's him who whispers to you, oh, she's so pretty, don't worry, I've got this under control, I'm way smarter than her. Meanwhile, she's already clued in her friends. You get excited about a few more sexy bikini beauties, not realizing they all live in the same room and are collaborating to spend your cash. So if you are having a problem with him while dating, here's my pro tip. There are waterproof phones out there now. You can take one into a cold shower while you chat. I guarantee you, within a week you'll be chatting with, let's say, 100 sexy bikini beauties, but by the end of the week you'll have blocked at least 80 to 90 of them and not lost any money. And do take the times to read the comments under this video. My viewers are terrific, and over time they'll contribute many more great tips about red flags you should watch out for. This way you can sort through the options even more securely. The third and final rule is perhaps the most important one for survival. Avoid the whirlpool that leads to the abyss. You must also be clear about another fact. You're chatting online. You are not madly in love. Sure, feelings can emerge, but remember, those feelings are based on, at best, knowing 2% of this woman. Think of it like an iceberg. 90% of her life remains hidden from you, and you're only seeing what she wants to show you. You haven't got the foggiest idea of who she really is until you've spent personal time with her. The prelude to the abyss often starts innocently enough. You begin chatting with a woman whose username you only see as sexygirl18. So your first question should be, what's your real first name? Followed by the next critical question, where are you currently living? Let's say she says, and it's also listed as Davao, but don't just take that as a face value. Ask if she actually lives in Davao. You'll be surprised how many people fudge their location because they know no one is looking for girls from some obscure provincial town. So they claim they're in the big city, Davao, Cebu or Manila, just to get noticed faster, since guys naturally search for women in those cities. So double check if they truly reside where they claim to. After the initial pleasantries, it's time to get down to brass tacks. What are you actually here for? Becomes the question of the day. From this point, the spiral into the abyss speeds up. You talk about taking walks on the beach together, music, food. She likes many things you do. You mention German Schlager music or heavy metal, and she wants to see if she likes it too. What a fantastic woman for you. And then comes the point of no return at the edge of the abyss. One false step and you can make that mistake darn quick. You say it's getting late, I need to go to bed, and she replies with, I love you. More often than not, it's the Filipina who's the first to drop the I love you bomb. There it is, the abyss. Turn off your phone now. Do not reply with I love you too. That's the biggest mistake you can make. By saying that, you are committing yourself in her eyes. That's how she pulls you into this whirlpool of exclusivity, a vortex that keeps dragging you down deeper and deeper. So you didn't reply and simply logged off, but you haven't yet changed your course. Because during the next conversation, she'll naturally ask if you love her too. Here you need to steer the ship in a different direction, plain and simple, by saying, I can only talk about love when I spend time with someone. That's the bare bones truth. Otherwise, you let your emotions lead way, sailing straight into this abyss. Be aware you're only chatting, that's it. You might know about 2% of what makes up this woman. The rest of her life is happening thousands of miles away from you, and you have no idea who she really is until you spend time with her in person. So don't hit me with excuses like, we've been chatting for weeks. There's still 98% of her that you simply don't know. You don't know how she is when she's tired, bored or stressed. You have no clue whether she might be married or has kids. Be brutally honest with yourself and realize you basically know nothing about her. Because trust me, she will only show you her good side. All the drama going on in the background, she will conveniently sweep that under the rug. And the same goes for you, by the way. Oh, of course, you've already told her that you were in prison 6 years ago, or that you actually have no money and don't even know what your minimum pension will be. Those are the kind of things you confess after the wedding, right? And now I hear you saying you're convinced she's your soulmate. You feel she's the one, and as soon as you land in the Philippines, you'll tie the knot. But that's risky because you're piecing together an image of her based on fragments. You fill in the gaps in your knowledge about her with your own imagination, as if you're using speckling paste and filler. You think it's all sunshine and rainbows just because the little she has told you sounds so promising. What did I say earlier about emotional stability? Watch out for becoming emotionally unstable just because she says I love you and refers to herself as your girlfriend. If she keeps throwing out I love you, you need to be crystal clear. I really enjoy our chats and want to continue them, but honestly, until I've landed in the Philippines and we've spent quality time together, I wouldn't say we're in a relationship, okay? Or put it this way, I want to talk to you every day and spend a lot of time with you once I'm in the Philippines. But let's be real, we are not a couple online, nor are we engaged or married. Steer the ship around before it's too late. And here's the kicker. If you do this, the women who are serious will patiently wait for you, because they get you. They think and feel the same way you do. On the other hand, women with other intentions think to themselves, this guy is too smart for me, I need someone naive who falls head over heels in love with me and sends money. So stay on your side of the line. We are great video pen pals, I enjoyed chatting with you, but no, you're not my girlfriend, I'm not your boyfriend. We are not engaged, I hope we'll meet when I get there, and then we'll see how it goes. Be aware, if you cross that line, you're done for. Let's sum this up for you again. First survival rule. If you're too emotional, perhaps because you're still hung up on your ex or have been lonely for too long, best to steer clear of dating websites for now. Second survival rule, self-control. When the red flags go up, you gotta pull the plug. Otherwise you'll just fall back into old patterns and let yourself be led down a slippery slope. Third survival rule, don't get sucked into the I love you abyss. We are just good online friends, nothing more at the moment. With this, I hope I've made you safe enough to take the plunge into the deep end without immediately thinking. But before you dive in, how about a virtual thank you to your lifeguard here? A like shouldn't be too much to ask. Feel free to give more, that's entirely up to you. I'm pretty sure we'll see each other again in upcoming videos, as I have hope you'll manage to dodge the sharks around here. For now I say bye bye from Cebu and have fun with my videos.